Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Have my good friend Amanda Atwell back on from Dave Campbell's Texas Football. How you doing, Amanda?
I'm good. I'm happy to be back. Thank you for having me back on so soon.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's been a fun season already so far in all walks of life in the football realm. We're going to
Mhm.
talk a lot of Texas football today. It's Tech Week. I know you have a lot of fun, Jazz. We got to help out our boy Kyle Umlang out there fight the good fight.
I mean, he's doing a good job, I have to say. He was going straight for the jugular yesterday. I He did a great job.
Yeah, he's got him. He's got a lot of those Red Raider folks out there in West Texas pretty triggered right now. So we're going to add a little fuel to the fire there.
Yeah.
But before we jump into everything, I do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, BUSR, busr.com/fanatic, the official sports book, the official sponsor, the official betting partner of Fanatic Perspective. You guys hit that promo code Sports100FP, 100% free play match on all initial deposits within your first 24 hours of putting money down on BUSR. So you put up 150, we'll match the 150 for you. And there's a lot going on. The spread on this Texas Tech game is moved from what four and I think it opened at 4.5. Now we're up to 6.5, which means an inkling for certain players that may be participating. I don't know. News we just got today. Right now, we are recording this on Wednesday evening. So a lot of you guys are going to be seeing this Thursday afternoon. But hit up usr.com. I know a lot of y'all are looking for a reliable place to put bets in and people to, that will make sure that your money's in the right place. You don't have anything going on crazy. That's why we partner up with these guys. So bsr.com/fanatic. Also, make sure you support the channel, and it's free to show love. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe, the whole bit. We really appreciate it. Amanda, so I want to hit you with the day job first. It seems like when I'm following you on socials, you're one of the Texas football celebrities out there, and it seems like you're having a blast. It's been busy, but you're having a blast at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. And talk to me about how the season's been so far and some of the cool places and things you've seen.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been crazy. I feel like I've kind of been all over the place as far as DFW goes, but I also got to go to Amarillo back for the first time since I left Amarillo. I think that was the second week of the season. So that was a lot of fun. And the essence of my job is I get to hand out money and scholarships to students. So you really can't beat that. They're never going to be disappointed to see you when you're giving them money. So a lot of fun. I feel like I get to see so many different places than I was seeing when I was a sports reporter, because I actually haven't done a big grand tour of DFW. I saw the new Prosper Stadium a couple weekends ago. That thing is insane. It's one of the new just multi-million dollar football stadiums here in North Texas. It's beautiful. The people at Prosper were so nice. It's so much fun to go out there and just meet these people. And yeah, we are officially in, I believe it's week 5 of the high school football season. Week 4,
Already.
lost in which week it is. I think it's week 5 out of 11 weeks. So we're almost at that halfway point, which is crazy. I feel like we just started yesterday. But this week I will be headed out to actually my alma mater. I'm going to Keller Central, the big rivalry there. So, and that'll be, I think that's my first time back at a Keller game since I graduated high school. So that'll be pretty crazy. I've gotten to give a couple scholarships to my alma mater, which is always fun to be able to be in a position where I can give back to where I came from. And then the next week I'll be in Highland Park, so I'll be down the street from where I live now. So it's been a lot of fun and I've really enjoyed it. And I can't believe we're already almost at the halfway point of high school football season, but plenty of college to go.
And like I say all the time, guys, please support your local, especially if you're here in the state of Texas, the great state of Texas, support your local high school football teams. Highland Park, I mean, look at some of the names she's dropping. Prosper, Highland Park. These are programs that are nationally recognized and very, very, very known and play games on, on TV, on Fox Sports, on ESPN. So it's so cool to see that. Here in Arlington, I've noticed that they had signed a deal playing games at the old Globe Life Park.
Yes, I
Um,
think it's Choctaw Stadium now.
yeah, Choctaw Stadium. There you go. There you go. Yeah, and so these kids are playing in some incredible environments um,
Yeah.
and atmosphere. Like I saw Martin kicked off their season against Lake Travis
Mhm.
there at Choctaw Stadium. So
They've done a
Incredible.
really good job converting that stadium into where it's still useful for the community, and I think a lot of credit goes to the director of the Arlington Sports Commission, Matt Wilson. He does a lot of work. He's actually a tech grad, so I don't know if he's talking to me this week, but we're really good friends.
He's not
But
gonna like you at the end of the video.
but I'm giving him a shout out. He does a really good job promoting the city of Arlington and doing what's best, not only for professional sports in the city of Arlington, but down to the school system and giving them an opportunity to play on a really awesome stage at one of the awesome facilities they have in Arlington.
For sure, for sure. And that's a deal they have all season long as well with with all of Arlington ISD. So it's been really cool to see a lot of good football there, a lot of rivalry games played there. So great exposure for the community and the kids. Amanda, with you being occupied throughout the week, and especially Thursday night kickoffs, Friday night kickoffs, that means we actually got a weekend, right? And so you get to also really be back in the fold of following your college alma mater,
Yeah.
University of Texas. And you've already been back. We just finished our non-conference schedule,
Mhm.
right? So
I have to say, we have won every single game I've attended. So if anybody wants to pass off their season tickets to me, I'll take them. I'm looking for an OU ticket. I'll take it. It's free of charge.
we got to get her a OU ticket. You guys hear
I
that?
know.
Make sure you guys get us some good deals in there and on the Texas side,
I'm
right?
kicking myself. I didn't buy season tickets this year, and I haven't been in so long since I graduated. I didn't realize that the only real way you can get decent OU tickets that aren't insanely priced on StubHub is by getting season tickets and just buying the package. But, I'm sure I'll be able to find one. I am going to be at that game, whatever it takes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I actually just my buddy Nino is going to be flying in for that game. He's another Texas alum, and we have like a little row there, right behind the goalpost, which I'm excited. Unfortunately, we were there last year and went through the heartbreak. So
I'm
we're
kind of
looking.
glad I didn't go last year, but who knows? The only year I've actually only been able to go once. The only year I went was Charlie Strong's year that bought him another
That
year.
he won it. Yeah,
Yes. It's my
yeah.
senior
We're
year
all
of college and phenomenal game. Had so much fun. So,
for a day. We were on
yes,
top for a day,
for a day.
right?
I think we
He
went
had
5
the
and
golden
7
hat. Right, and the next year was fired.
Yeah.
So that we discussed that last show though. One thing though, I do want to, since you've been back, Chris Del Conte, Bevo Boulevard, the tailgate experience. I think you do a great job. If you're not following Amanda on Twitter, Instagram, the whole bit, please follow her. And I mean it when I'm saying she's Texas football celebrity, because she does a great job of profiling her experience. We're here on Fanatic Perspective. So she's doing a great job of giving her experience as a fan in the environment, right? And capturing content and sharing that with us. So Amanda, coming back into the fold and now being a fan, what's it been like? Positive changes, any negatives, anything you want to go, just being back at DKR?
I have to say, from a fan perspective, it was kind of a complete 180 when I first came back. The first game I went back to actually at DKR was kind of weird. It was Texas Tech, I think 2 years ago, or maybe it was 2019. It was a year before COVID, and it was rainy. So it was kind of, the Bevo Boulevard was set up, but it was kind
Yeah,
of weird and cold.
that
And
was the last game of the season too.
yeah, they were just
Mhm.
it was a cool environment. It was definitely much different than what I remembered from college, but I didn't really get to see it at its full launch. So this year, first year I've been back where it hasn't been a COVID year, just in one completely different experience. When I was in college, I felt like it was a very segmented tailgate setup. Everybody wasn't really in one area. It kept most of the college, I'm sure a lot of the college kids still do tailgate on campus and in West Campus. But as far as a fan goes, it does a really good job of giving fans a place where they can go and tailgate for a relatively affordable price too. There's activities for the kids. It really just sets up I don't know, the Longhorn City Limits, insane idea, brings everybody together to watch live music before football. It gives you an entire day. Whereas
Yes.
previously it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to go and drink for 6 hours and then walk into a game and watch us almost lose. That was not enjoyable. But the way they have set it up now, and Chris Del Conte, he's also really restructured the way the student ticket process goes. I can tell you in my final years there, very much an apathetic thing to go to a football game. You bought the tickets, but you didn't have to show up. You knew you'd have a ticket. You had your ticket in your spot all season, whether you showed up or not. And so that left the student section pretty sparse. Now they've made it to where you have to get in to get a seat, or you ain't getting a seat. There's no seniority. And I think it's completely changed the entire structure of the student section. I think doing that is the only way you get stadiums with the raucousness that they had during the Alabama game. Because that was unlike anything I've, and everybody who I talked about who went, they were like, that was unlike anything I've ever seen before. And the only way we're going to repeat doing that is when you get the students to where they want to be there, they want to show up, they're there early, they're come early, wear orange, stay late, that whole saying. That's the only way you're going to get it with the students. And I think he's done a really good job of just kind of reinvigorating the entire fan experience in his years here.
They have everything catered to whatever lane you want to be in, right? There's a lot of folks that are, I know people say the term casual fans in a negative context, but nobody's filling stadiums with just a bunch of football diehards, right? You're going to have a collective group of people, especially at the University of Texas, especially in a city like Austin, Texas.
And Aggies will try to say they fill their stadium with diehards, but I have plenty of Aggie friends who are like, let's go to the football game for a little bit, and then we're leaving because I don't want to stand the whole time. I have plenty of friends who did that. You can't tell me every single sorority girl in that stadium staying the whole time.
Call them out. Exactly. Call them out. They're not.
You can't tell. I mean, yes, Kyle Field is a fantastic college football environment. They have casual fans, just like any other school.
And I think, too, you still have your normal tailgates. I mean, all the tailgates that are still there, some of the ones that people are, your more traditional type, let's bring a 12-pack, let's grill, let's do all that. You still have all of that available to you, right? All the tailgate spots are there. But I know, like, my co-host Tran, he brought his whole family to the first game against ULM, and they had an unbelievable time, right? The rides, the games, and just the kids were engaged. And so by the time it was time to go inside to the game, it was very, very exciting. There's a lot of buildup. And so I think you're seeing that across the board. I think you were sitting behind Texas bench. Was it both games?
The first game I was in the front row right behind the Texas bench. Yes.
Okay. What are you noticing from the football team? Because you picked them to win 8 games. Right now we're 2-1. So you could say we're on track. How are you feeling just overall now that you've been able to see this team very, very up close, follow them very closely? What are you feeling about with the product on the field?
I think in this just year 2, you're going to get everybody on this team. You're always going to have an outlier here or there, but I definitely see that it feels like everybody's more of bought in to where they're going with Sarkisian as their head coach. Last year, most of those were Herman's guys. You can't say everybody's going to be completely bought in, having to learn a new system, having to just adapt to this new style of coaching. Absolutely. It seems like everybody has a common goal. You can't say everybody on the team last year didn't want to win. I'm sure they wanted to win, but did they want to win enough to play 4 quarters of a game to get a win? That was not the case. I think we've seen very obviously this year, it's a team that can look at their mistakes, know how to fix them, and play together to fix them. You saw that in UTSA. Obviously, going into halftime, you don't want to be tied 17-17 against UTSA. But UTSA has a solid football program. We knew that going into it. That's why people called it a trap game. But you saw in this team that they could address what went wrong, where it went wrong, and fix it. And they did fix it going into the second half. And I just think that really goes to show the difference in spirit of this team. Now, UTSA is one thing. When we're knee-deep in Big 12 play, is that going to be any different? So we'll just have to see. And I think Lubbock will be a really good test because if we're talking Big 12 environment, it's probably as toxic, hateful to the Longhorns of an environment as you're going to get, because I mean, recent years, the hate has really ticked up in Tech. They've never really liked us, but they really don't like us right now. Can you blame them? We stole their star basketball coach. We're now leaving the conference. Sorry. But, it makes for a fun football game. And I was there the last time I think it was the last time we were in Lubbock. Was that 2018? It was a night game.
2018 was the night game. 2020 we were there, but that was COVID.
Yeah, so it was a weird year.
Yeah,
That
so
was the last full game in Lubbock, and I mean, the second UT went up, that stadium clears out. I can tell you from experience, the opponent goes up, stadium clears out. Might be a little bit different with the nature of things these days, but that's just how it was my entire experience there. But yeah, as far as the team goes, it seems like everybody is more of on the same page than it has been in previous years. I still think we need a couple games to test out the kinks, but I still think we're very much on track to win 8 games, especially if you get a win in Lubbock. I think that's just going to be the boost you need. You get over West Virginia. I think the OU looks better than I thought they would look. So if there's a loss, that could be one. But the rest of the season, there's no reason they can't win those 8 games.
and you know what's interesting? I think, and I'm even hearing it in the tone of your voice versus before the season started, where there was a lot more skepticism, right? And I think that's kind of where a lot of people are nationally with the perception of our football team, because when you think about even whether you're in the fan base or somebody that roots against Texas, or you're neutral, that Alabama game they showed a lot. The trap games, quote unquote, speak against UTSA. They woke up. They showed that they could counter
And
and
last
make
year they couldn't
adjustments.
wake up. It's like last year
They
they
couldn't
got
wake
down.
up
There
last
was
year.
no waking them up. It was a complete regression year. And I think just one of the big differences you see is like we're on our second, potentially third string quarterback, and we still beat a team by 21.
Great point.
Is that a team? Is that a Longhorn team of years past? Because if Sam Ellinger went out in one of those years, I don't think we're beating teams like UTSA by 21. I just don't think it's happening. I don't think we have what we needed to on defense, and I don't think we have what we needed to on offensive line to protect a backup quarterback that couldn't make decisions as well as Sam could.
The backup quarterback thing is a stellar example. Last year, we're 4-1 going into the OU game. Jordan Whittington goes down with the collarbone injury, and they fall off a cliff in the game, right? And then the rest of the season, he doesn't come back until way late. But we lose every game, like pretty much every game until Kansas State at the end. And those little things of adversity, which Sark has been preaching about, whether it's injuries, whether it's things like what DeMar Van Overshown's been going through, like you're gonna have crap pop up throughout the season. And how you respond to that is the character of your football team. And so I think there's now a level of optimism with what people are saying, but I also still feel some people are still waiting for the other shoe to drop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like some people are still like, yeah, but what happens when y'all blow a lead against, another team? Are y'all going to go back into your shells? They're going to spiral into one game to several games back to back. Like until they do this, they won't fully get all of that benefit of the doubt, so to speak.
I think we'll see who Sarkisian is as a coach as well, if they can avoid something like that. If, say, we do lose to OU, God forbid, is that going to be the shoe that drops that tells how the rest of the season goes, or are we going to rebound and win the rest of the games?
Great point. So as we go into Tech, some people call them the Sand Aggies and all these things. By the way, have you seen this stuff going on Twitter where they're turning their things red? What have you seen this?
I got to be real honest with you. I don't pay that much attention to other fan bases. I don't care. I don't. And I have a really good friend who I met in Amarillo. He went to Texas Tech, and I told you, look, Alec, I got to tell you, when I looked at my schedule, when I got it when I was in college, I saw Tech as a skippable game. I am full on apathy. I just didn't. Now, UCOU, that's circled, not missing. We're driving to Dallas that weekend.
Gotcha.
it's an apathy thing, and I've never just hated Texas Tech. I've never had a reason to, and it's not that I dislike them. It's not that I like them. It's full on apathy.
I don't care about them.
I don't care. Like, that's why I could cover them so fairly. I was like, if they win, great. If they lose, whatever. I was a great Texas Tech reporter because I told them sometimes they hated me because I didn't give them the benefit of the doubt, like half those reporters in Lubbock. But, sometimes you need somebody that tells you how it is, and sometimes they don't want to hear it.
So you cooked a guy on Twitter the other day, or it was a couple weeks ago maybe, where they were talking about playing Texas when we go to the SEC and trying to arrange something, and they're upset about whatever the negotiations are, and I don't remember exactly what you said. You're like, I don't care about this.
I don't care. If you put it on the schedule, great. If it's not on the schedule, who cares? I mean, I'm sure Jerry would love to sign up to have Texas Tech in AT&T Stadium for a preseason game, but or a non-conference game. But it'd be cool if we could get it. And also I think the point I was making in that is it'd be awesome if we could still play them in basketball, but in every other sport, do you really want to play us? Do you really? Texas has been going through their worst period of football the last decade, and we have beaten Texas Tech. I think we've only lost twice in the last 10 years, but you really want to keep this alive. You want to keep it going. Tell me more why.
This is starting to sound like the Bedlam conversation between Oklahoma and Oklahoma State fans.
But the problem is, like, you kind of consider them a rivalry. Their rivalry has a name. What's our name? The Dust Bowl? Our rivalry doesn't have a name because it doesn't exist.
No.
I feel bad for schools like Texas Tech because they don't really have like a great traditional rival that they can just like throw forks at. Like, they used to have A&M, kind of. I guess A&M was kind of their rival. I don't know. They kind of have TCU. I would consider TCU and Texas Tech kind of, but then TCU is kind of too much of the wine and cheese crowd. They also don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of sucks to not have that traditional rival built in like UT and A&M and OU, and we all hate each other. And it's so much fun because it's also like with these rivalries, there's a mutual level of respect. Like OU has this very long history of having a solid program and just solid athletic program in general. A&M, never mind. But OU has a solid program that like you can tip your hat to, and so it's cool. It's kind of like a mutual respect thing, but it doesn't exist. It's not a rivalry that exists, but it's been fun in recent years, I will say, in basketball, but I just don't
100%. Yeah.
I don't get why they want to continue it in football. Would you want to continue playing a team that beats you by 5 touchdownos? Like,
yeah, we dropped 70 on you.
What could have been a basketball score, but y'all want to continue this series?
Yeah, I know they're going to try to use that as motivation and rah and all this type of stuff, and they're going to have the Chris Beard fat heads up there.
And I have to say, Jerry Maguire. I always say Jerry Maguire. Joey. Different.
I love that movie though.
Yeah, no. Joey Maguire, great guy, great coach. I really hope he can do good things for Texas Tech and make them a good program because I am of the opinion that more solid football programs in the state of Texas is good for everyone. And it would be awesome to see him bring that program back to being what they used to be, kind of like when they used to win more than 4 games.
Yeah, their peak was Leach, was Mike.
Yeah. Back to the Leach era.
Yeah.
But I just don't understand why you would want to go out of your way to continue what you consider a rivalry against a football team that you regularly lose to.
With bringing up Joey, that is somebody I am personally rooting for. I like you. I like him a lot.
I want him to win when he's not playing a team in burnt orange.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I hope we bust their ass on Saturday. I
hope we put up another 70.
Yeah,
When I was at that game last year too, and when we scored 70, I was in the stands. Score Brady. Come on. Do not put in third string. Run it up some
No
more.
mercy.
No
No
mercy.
mercy. No, because they would do it to us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look how they talk crazy during this basketball situation. So
They should have beat us by 20 and they took it to the buzzer and they still thought that they hung the moon on the
mhm.
city of Austin. And we were
But
unworthy.
I will say, with that hire, we just played Jeff Traylor last week at UTSA. These guys that are these high school football, the staples of them, right?
Mhm.
And
They were both on our magazine.
exactly,
Mhm.
exactly, right? And we'll have that cover up here to share with you guys because that's the root and nature of how they're going to grow their programs. How Jeff Shaler's already grown UTSA to what it is.
UTSA
Anytime,
the same way. Like I have to cheer for UTSA outside of when they play Texas. Every other day of the week, you can call me a meat fan because like I want him and that program to be successful. Because I also watched a program like UTRGV is about to get a program, and they're going to be
oh
facing
really?
similar challenges to what UTSA faced to climb to a level of relevance. So it's just cool to see that like that is possible for a very new program.
Is UT Arlington ever getting a program? I've heard them talk about it, but is that a
I would go
thing?
with no. I would say it's not on the radar.
But no, you're right. The way that he's built that up. I mean, you take them to the top 25 last year.
Mhm.
You know the schedule they've had: Houston, Army, Texas. That's a tough
Yes.
non-con opener. So I have nothing but respect to them. And with Joey McGuire and what he's done, I mean, already getting an upset win over Houston early in the
Mhm.
season. They did rush the field against Houston. I'm sure you have some thoughts about that.
I
As a Big
mean,
12 school, and you
I
know,
gotta tell you, I don't care because 'cause they're tech. Who cares what they do? It's stupid. Yeah, they rush the field, but that's a tech thing to do.
so let's wrap up here though. So this spread is moving,
Mhm.
and I think from a standpoint of we do want to win the game. In all seriousness, this is like you said a big test for Steve Sarkisian, how they respond on the road. You mentioned it's going to be a raucous environment. I am thankful that it's a 2:30 kickoff, a midday, not at night game.
I mean, if they happen to win and it was a nighttime kickoff, I would be afraid they would burn the city of Lubbock down. I don't know if you remember when they punched their ticket to the national title game in basketball. I was in Lubbock that night. I was at the Texas Tech Law Prom with my former Texas Tech law boyfriend. And there were Lime scooters on fire in the streets that night.
They
They
were burning the Lime scooters.
I mean, me and him, we both went to Texas and he was just there for law school. So we're just watching like them win and everybody go nuts like great.
That must have been one of the greatest nights of people watching of all
It
time.
was. I was just like, can we just go home and like not be around these people? Go home to Lubbock. It's
This lawlessness.
just in Lubbock. I was like, and lock up your car tonight. Make sure they don't like carry it off because it has a Longhorn on the back.
we might have to cover the vehicle.
Exactly.
Uh, with the line moving, it's about Quinn Ewers.
Mhm.
Is he playing? Is he not?
I
He
would have
has
to
been
say,
he has been practicing.
yeah. The thing is, as a person who has played college sports, I could only see him playing in a desperate instance. I think they go with Card because this is Texas Tech is a team we should beat and we should beat handily. I mean, they lost to NC State last week and it did not look pretty early. And Hudson Card, he was in contention for the starting job. He was never far behind from being that starting guy. So I feel like why not go with this guy a little bit longer instead of because Lubbock Tech is going to be out for murder. They're going to want to re-injure Quinn Ewers. I hate to say anybody wants to injure anybody, but they're not that they're going to want to injure. I don't want to say that. They're going to want to hit him. They're going to want to hit him hard. And to risk him re-injuring something like that and potentially being out even longer, I think is more risky than we want to mess with unless for some reason we're down by 20 early. And at that point, then you got to change something up and you got to change it quickly. I think we go with Hudson Card. I do think it's very positive that we're seeing Quinn practice this much early because I think that says something good for having him back by OU 100%. I don't think, I mean, if it were me, I don't know. I also don't know the in and outs of his injuries. A lot of people are acting like doctors in this situation. As a person who has been injured, I played the entire last year of my college soccer career with a bone floating around in my kneecap. Sometimes you play through injuries and sometimes you just deal with them until the season's over. And some of them, they're always going to annoy you a little bit, but you're just going to go with it. Some of them are worse. So you can't really say you know what he's dealing with or whether or not he should be playing or he shouldn't. I trust that they'll make the proper decision as far as his health. But it would be pretty cool to see him play and throw some balls up there and just completely roast Texas Tech defense. I wouldn't be mad about being able to see him. I think the smart decision would be starting Card and going with Card and seeing if we can get the one with Card and saving him until he's completely healthy.
So before I play devil's advocate here, I do want to address the first part of what you said in regards to not necessarily targeting the collarbone or the AC joint for re-injury, but testing it if you're an opponent. Can I ask you a question? So I said, can I ask you a question? I just started going into journalism.
You can ask the question.
Okay. Amanda, as a former athlete, if you knew a girl on another team was playing with a ankle sprain or had some sort of lingering thing, didn't you feel like I'm not trying to step on her ankle, but I want to see how I want to make her work. I may force her to that foot, right? Like, isn't that a natural thing?
It is. I would say it's definitely not where it's like you see her in a knee brace. She obviously recently had her ACL redone. I'm not going to go slide tackling that ankle just because I want her off the field. But the way you said it is exactly correct. You're going to try to lead them to have to go with that what they perceive to be the weaker side. In football, it's a little different because when it's his shoulder that he doesn't throw with, are they going to try to tackle him from that side? Is that like, I could see that happening. At the same time, it's like, I'm also thinking from the mindset of somebody who's not, most of the time when I'm playing soccer games, I was never really playing a team that I just rampantly hated for no reason. It's a little different in this scenario.
100%.
There's a lot of venom. Granted, a lot of these players, they grew up watching each other. They know similar people. They were recruited probably on similar timelines, but they're going to want to knock him out of the game one way or another. I hate to say a player's going to want to injure somebody, but I definitely could see them trying to potentially go after that side of him.
I know what players will typically do. Like you said, they're not trying to injure somebody, but if I'm a D lineman and I hit the quarterback, I'm gonna lean on him. If I have a shot to hit his arm, I'm gonna hit it. Like that's totally legal, right? And I want to see, like, because the other thing they're saying is there's no structural damage. It's a pain. It's really comes down to a pain tolerance thing. Well, if his pain starts to increase, or we don't know what medications he may or may not be on, and it starts to impact his performance, then I'm going to keep testing. I'm going to keep leaning on it. If I have an opportunity to knock a pass away, I may come down and hit the pad. If it doesn't do anything, it doesn't do anything, but I'm going to test it. And so I think, if he plays, yes, he will be tested. However, at any point when he comes back, people are going to try to test it. The thing is, everybody saw the Alabama game. They know exactly where his injury is. So it's one of these things where, from I said devil's advocate, I want him to get reps. I want him to get that road experience because I think him being a freshman still, he hasn't played a whole lot of football.
That's a good point. And he hasn't played on the road environment.
He has not played in a road environment at
Mhm.
all.
Yep.
And then it's like, okay, we're saving him. We already tried to work out the rust from
Yep.
ULM from him not playing for 2 years. Then we're just going to throw him back into the OU
OU.
situation where it's like, hey, I can use some of these games. If he's cleared by the doctor and he's practicing, I want him to use this opportunity to really, really get in rhythm with, us getting Worthy the football and Jatavian Sanders and all these weapons where Hudson Card's been holding it down. Now,
Mhm.
'cause he's also been playing through injury and they're going to test his ankle if
Yeah,
he's out
he
there.
wasn't gimping around quite as much at the end of that UTA. He was definitely limping towards the end of it, but it didn't look like Alabama. So, and that's another thing from a person who used to play sports perspective, they're shooting these kids up with PRP injections, whatever PRP injections I would assume is what they're using most of the time because I used to get them for my knee. It's essentially an injection where they spin off your own plasma, spin it with another drug, and shoot it into the joint, and it provides additional lubrication and just kind of pain relief for it. They kind of called him the Kobe Bryant shot formerly because it's what he used to get a lot.
Ah,
Uh,
okay.
they used to not be legal in this country, but it was just they weren't. It's not that they weren't legal; they weren't approved by the FDA. They have
Yeah,
since been
that's when
approved
we
by
went to
the
like Germany and
Yes,
tested. Yeah,
yes.
okay.
Well, my surgeon, he's a head surgeon for the Dallas Cowboys. His name's Daniel Cooper. He's the one who ran on the field. He was in the hat next to Dak. That's my doctor. And so he's the one he like gives me all so he's like, here are all the options, and I'll kind of tell you the level of athlete that would pay for each one of these. He said, you're at this top one that's like under $5,000. I was like, great, thank you. But no, so they have access to all that kind of stuff. So they're going to be given every single thing they can to be able to milk that injury. And I honestly think that's probably how Hudson Card got through UTSA.
Very interesting how Steve Sarkisian will navigate this game and this situation. Another test. So far, so good. 3 games in, I think we've all been impressed with the defense. They looked so far ahead of schedule.
Mhm.
I think we've been impressed with, like you said, their ability to respond to crisis in certain situations.
And
And now
protecting the quarterbacks. I've been impressed with the O line protecting the quarterbacks, which is something where
young
I was,
offensive line too.
yeah, I was very unsure about what that would look like going into this season. So I think that's set our quarterbacks up to be successful, whichever one's in there.
Folks listening and watching out there, this is why I've been saying from the beginning of this. Anybody that listens to the channel, by the way, like I said, it's free to show love. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Take care of your boy. We're trying to get to 12K. Take care of us. But enjoy the journey.
Mhm.
This is like, I think people are starting to realize, like, oh wow, it's fun watching these young guys out
Mhm.
there, but they're playing hard. They love Texas. They're part of, like, these are Steve's guys. These are Steve Sarkisian's guys. Like, we see the culture getting
Mhm.
stronger. There's a lot to enjoy the journey, right? Right. When the expectations are still kind of, the expectations are always going to be a certain level at Texas. It's still
Mhm.
Texas. We don't want to
Mhm.
act like we're, Johnny come, oh, I hope we get a spot in the dance. Like, no, right? It's still Texas.
Yeah.
But at least right now, where it's like, it's not like it was for OU last year where it was playoffs or bust, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of pressure on a
Mhm.
team. So just seeing all of this come together. Last thing I'm gonna ask you before we tie off here, because this has been fun. Thank you for
Mhm.
coming
Of
on and
course.
chatting with us. You think that Tech DA has something to do with our boy Overshown and his
See, I love the conspiracy theory, but I did a little bit more research on her. She doesn't look like a Raucous Tech fan. She looks like a
okay,
person who just applied to a college and that's where she got in. And she probably spends her Saturday nights on the sofa with her dogs, watering her plants.
watching Grey's Anatomy rerun.
Yeah, I truly don't think she had anything to do with it. It's an interesting coincidence, but I don't really think she had anything to do with it, and regardless, they just came out with that his appeal was denied
Right.
targeting call, so it
Yeah,
was
the targeting thing is uh
that was the worst call I've ever seen. I try not to tweet that much when I'm at the game, but that call there's few calls that have made me wanna curse on Twitter, and that was one of them. That was just absolutely atrocious.
Right.
Between that and the Alabama call of the safety targeting in the end zone, I don't think I've ever been so
Which because of that call, we're not allowed to then check the cameras for the safety because we're over here spending our time on targeting that should have never.
I'm still mad about it. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, free demo, free demo. This is they after this brother for no
I
reason.
loved him. His tweet after the fact where he tweeted the jailbird or whatever, him in the jail. Just like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, that was the Akon
Yeah.
rock.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. He's
So
funny. He's a funny kid.
nah, he's just a quiet country boy that just had a kid and is playing football for Texas and and these refs and everybody just after Demo.
I know. I know. I had one guy in my DMs be like, "Well, it's still illegal in the state of Texas." Like it was under 2 grams of marijuana. If you're getting your panties tied a bunch, I got some news to tell you about Denver, Colorado. It's it,
Smoking that devil's lettuce.
there are a whole lot worse things he could be. You would have the only way you could get me mad about Demo is if something came out about some kind of domestic abuse situation.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not going to happen. I am not going to get worked up over 2 grams of marijuana. I'm just not. There are so many worse. Alcohol is arguably worse than 2 grams of marijuana, but that's a conversation for another day. I mean, it's not something that's going to make me paint him as a bad guy or that he should be sitting out or suspended for more games. Sure, it's illegal in the state of Texas. Maybe we have outdated laws. Who knows?
Who knows? Well, the other, and it happened last year.
Exactly. It's been dealt with. I mean, did it happen? Was it in December? Like June?
December.
I thought it was in June.
It was December. I think it turned out to be December 2021. And there was like a processing thing or court thing that was supposed to happen in June or July.
Okay, that's
right. And so that's why the paperwork and the court dates, he had to go through the walkthrough process now. But the incident happened in December, and he probably got punished by Sark's timeline, probably during winter conditioning.
Yeah, he probably ran up and down DKR about 500 times.
Yeah. So what are we talking about here, right?
Yeah.
But hey, free Demo, we'll gladly have him back second half against Texas.
A nice little surprise for Tech in the second half.
Absolutely. And you know what? I will say this. They have a quarter. This for folks out there that have, that didn't see the live that I'm doing with Kieran, where we're gonna like get into Tech's offense and all that. Their quarterback likes to turn the football over. 2 straight games with pick sixes. Takes a lot of sacks. That guy Donovan Smith takes a lot of sacks. So Demo, everybody, Baron Sorrell, Byron Murphy, Keandre Coburn.
I want to see some defensive points this game.
Absolutely. We got one last week with Jahdae Barron, current Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week. Congratulations, Jahdae, getting that pick 6 against UTSA. So let's get another one. Let's make it 3 straight games for Donovan Smith where he throws a pick 6. Let's do it.
It has to happen at this point.
Absolutely. Amanda, anything you want to plug as we sign off here? So grateful to have you back on.
I mean, if you're from my hometown and you see me at the Keller Central rivalry, come say hi. But otherwise, not really. I'm just excited to be back on and be talking some football.
Absolutely. And I think you have a birthday coming up.
It is. You said this is on Thursday is when this will go out?
Yes.
It will be my birthday.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate
it. Birthday.
Big 2-9, last year of the 20s.
Hey, you know what? As somebody who's in their early 30s right now, it only gets better. We're aging like wine over here, right?
I was talking to Greg Tepper today, our great talent, Greg Tepper over at Dave Campbell's Texas Football.
Man, you know some famous people. He's a legend in the business.
Yeah,
that's a big name you just threw
it'll
out.
go to his head. But he was telling me today, he's like, your 30s are a whole heck of a lot better than your 20s. Your 20s, you're just poor and you have no idea what you're doing. I was like, you know what? I can relate to that. That is very accurate. But we're doing the upper 20s, I will say, have been significantly better than the lower 20s. So I'm excited.
There we go. There we go. Well, hey, again, happy birthday. Have an awesome weekend. Let's have a victory weekend for you on your
Yes.
birthday against Tech.
Please.
Moving, right? And so, folks, make sure you follow Amanda on Twitter. I'll have her socials there, as well as all the links in the description box. Thank you to our sponsor, busr.com/fanatic, the official sports book, the official betting partner of Fanatic Perspective. Guys, we also have player prop bets going on. There's Heisman bets going on right now, conference championship bets as conference play is really, really starting to kick off across the board. Texas is opening their conference play. Get your bets in. If you're looking for a reliable betting partner, BOSR is a great choice for you. Okay. So, guys, I appreciate it so very much. Amanda, thank you once again.
Of
Happy
course.
birthday.
Thank you.
And remember, horns always up. Peace.